All right, everyone, we have a lot of ground to cover today, so this is going to be the biggest reroute video I've done, and it also saves probably the most, but we haven't really done the most full testing of it. For those of you who don't know me, I'm BP, I'm the current world record holder for all moons, and we've currently been routing it to be a little bit faster over time. So this route change takes place in two kingdoms, and that's why it's more complicated. It takes place in Mushroom, and it takes place in Seaside. The primary changes are in Seaside. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through what the current route looks like. That way we can get a sense for what changes. So I'm not going to go through the full thing, but first thing to know, the route starts, you will begin in Darkside, and the current route goes to the Seaside Kingdom here. The new route will go to Mushroom Kingdom. So that's the first major change. It changes the kingdom order. So you go to Seaside, and we're going to spawn in, and immediately we are going to trigger the dog. So the reason that the old route used to go to Seaside is because when you pop out of the Odyssey, it's really convenient just to like scroll through this moon text, take note of this moon text. So whenever you arrive in a kingdom with a moon rock, it gives you this text box at the start. So take note of that, but it plops you out right here, right in front of the dog. You can trigger the dog. So then you can do your business. You can go over there, grab that moon, route the dog over to its final resting spot. That sounded grim. Then once you're done with that, you grab the moon over here. And you'll see a little bit of this later on because you do all these components in the new route, but in different orders. Then you plant this seed in any of the pots. I made it nice. Then you trigger this moon route. Okay, so start off, you spawn in the kingdom, you go talk to the dog, you plant the seed, and then you trigger the moon route. Okay, that's part one. So the next thing to understand is there are three other seeds throughout the kingdom. So let me grab my arrow and we'll use the map. So the first seed that you plant in this route is in this deep trench over here. So you're going to grab the seed in the trench, and like I said, we're going to actually do this later on, but we're just giving an overview of the old route. You're going to grab the seed in the trench, take it all the way around the kingdom over here, and plant it in the planters. Then, later on in the kingdom, your next one is going to be the canyon. There is a seed all the way over here. You're going to cart that all the way back to this same area, plant it in the planter. And the last seed is over in the hot springs. You grab the seed, cart it all the way over here. So, you come over to this area right here, a grand total of 3 wonderful times. 3 wonderful times. So, okay, actually we'll call it 4 wonderful times. So, 4 wonderful times. The first time, it's very easy to know what we do. We plant the seed and we activate the moon rock. The moon rock has to be activated at some point, so we do that on the first trip. The second few times, we need to figure out what are we going to do. So let me click off of the menu and see what there is to do around Seaside. So what's there around here? There's this nice little volleyball mini game that everyone loves. There is that nice little cove that has a treasure. There is that rocket ship up there that we can travel to. And there's this wonderful little resort moon that everyone loves. We love Seaside Kingdom. It's our favorite. It has so much interactivity and fun stuff. So, point being, after we plant the first seed, we need to accomplish all of these goals. The first goal, we trigger the moon rock. Second goal, we go over to the jump rope and do that. Third goal, we need to choose to either do the treasure cove or the rocket. Either one is acceptable. And then the fourth goal is we do the resort. So, observe, this covers all but one option. So we've left something for later. Why do we leave something for later? We leave something for later because these seeds need to grow. We're going to get them in a revisit to Seaside and then collect these moons and then do the last goal that we haven't achieved. So the last one is either going to be the treasure trap over there or the rocket over here. Typically we leave the rocket, and then after we grab that moon on the high, we go to the rocket, finish up the kingdom. That ends our route. So, let us go over to Mushroom and show you Seaside 2. So actually, before we do that, I'll summarize one more time. So, you plant the first seed, you bounce on this parasol, you make it all the way over here, you plant the seed, boom, now we go do volleyball. Bang. Pass. Now, later on into the split, we plant our second seed. Boom, we're over here. We plant the seed. All right, bang. We're going to head over here. We're going to go into the treasure trap. Boom, all is golden, all is well with the world. Bang. Later on in the kingdom, we plant our final seed. We're all done. We've bought the outfit. We're ready to take off. We plant the seed. We talk to the lady. We warp out. We exit the kingdom. That is the general route plan. Now, when we come back to the kingdom, the seeds will be grown and we will be ready to go. So let's go to Mushroom Kingdom. So the route for Mushroom 2, really, really simple. All you do, you start over here at the Painting Island, then you warp to the Odyssey, and we're just going to go straight to Seaside. That's all there is to it. You just enter the kingdom, go straight to Seaside. So, this is really convenient for us because the painting platform in Seaside is located right the flip here. And you can even see the rocket on screen right now. So it's pretty obvious what we're going to do. We're going to roll down here. We're going to get all the seeds that we planted and are all fully grown. We're going to grab this last moon over here that I mentioned earlier, and we're going to go through the rocket. So that's a summary of the old route. That took 6 minutes long. Oh my goodness. Hopefully it's an effective summary. We got a lot of ground to cover. So how does the route change? Well, you're going to notice some immediate inconvenience. We are no longer traveling to Seaside first, which means we are no longer revisiting Seaside, which means we don't have the luxury of going from the painting platform to the seeds. That seems a little bit weird. Why would we do that to ourselves? Well, instead of going to the painting, we're going to immediately go from Dark Side. We're going to hold all the way to the left. You go to Mushroom. What can we do instead of going to the seeds when we enter Seaside through the painting? Let's think about this. So, heading to Mushroom. Sorry, yeah, we're heading to Mushroom. Painfully long load on Switch 1 physical, if only I had Switch 2. And we're immediately entering the Seaside painting just like we would do in the other routes. This is basically the same thing in Mushroom 2, but you're not going through the painting, you're just doing this immediately. So, go through the painting, we do this, and we see the rocket still, but what is more conveniently located in the rocket? We can just go straight down to volleyball. So we start off the kingdom, we do volleyball, we get to 100 spikes, blah blah blah. We spike every single time we're tasked. Grab these purple coins like we would in a normal route. Then we grab both these moons, go over there, same business as usual. So we are now in this sub area here and we have to warp out. Where do we warp to? We warp here. Why do we warp here? All of these moons that we get in this segment of the normal Seaside 1 route where we take the canyon seed over to this part, none of them are activated by the moon rock. So when we do this part first, we wind up right by the moon rock and just conveniently can smack it. So this is where the primary time save of this route comes to play. This is the most important part, and it's also the hardest part. So I'll do a quick demonstration. I might have to focus a little bit and not yap as much, but this is all normal. You do this in the main route. You grab all these purples. You hopefully actually hit that ground pound spot on the first try. That way you don't need to do this, but grab this moon and you start transporting the seed. So you transport the seed, you do this, you grab the rocket flower. Alright, I'm doing a terrible job right now, so we're just gonna reset a little bit. So you grab, oh my goodness, bro. Come on. BP, you're better than this. Dude, this is fun. Okay. You know, we're just gonna reset for a second. But either way, you grab the rocket flower, you take it over to the other direction. I'm not gonna bother doing that initial movement again. We're just gonna grab the seed and then move on. But I messed up the seed toss, which makes the rest of the movement a little bit awkward. I'll explain what to do for backups later. But right now, we're over here. We grab the seed, we jump, we throw it, eat it over there, grab the rocket flower, carry it over. So here's where I want to pause. So the rocket flower is only going to last for a little bit of time, and we want to jump with the rocket flower just to get some extra jumps. Right here is about where it runs out. So we're going to do a jump throw around here right before it runs out, and the seed will land right in this little inlet right here. The seed will land in this inlet right here, and we're going to pick it up later and carry it over. You might see where this is going if you have watched my mushroom wrap tutorial. So we pick up the seed, we throw it, and then we pick it up again, and then you shake throw it here. You shake throw it here. Now, we go activate the dog. So you activate the dog, you spin pound right on those little particles. I'll go into more detail on this later. You do this, you grab the 3 purple coins here. You grab this cliff moon. All this time the dog is digging and the seed is being transported. You grab the seed again before it despawns. And now you continue on with the route. Here, we transport the seed while we're moving the dog. This is the time save. You are overlapping the task of moving the dog with the task of moving the seed. They're going in the same direction, so it's fine. This part's a little bit finicky, but since you don't need to do it very fast, since the dog's going to dig up its spot, it's not a huge deal. So keep the camera on the dog as long as you can. Plant the seed. I am an onion. Why did I say that? Who said that? Okay, plant the dang seed. This could happen with the other ones. That's not time loss that'll happen. That doesn't matter. We see the dog is sniffing around. It's about to dig. Look at the hint art. It's in its dig spot. Grab the moon. Bang. Here, we sync up with the old route. We have planted the last moon. We have gotten the dog moon. Now we can plant this last seed. And you want to aim for this back right pot. Oftentimes it'll go in this front pot. Either one's fine. Then, as usual, you trigger the moon rock. Okay. Start of the route is done. One thing I want to point out right now, what have we done so far? We have eliminated 2 endpoints and planted 2 seeds. We have gotten the volleyball endpoint and we have gotten the moon rock endpoint. Now, we can continue the route as normal until we get over to the next seed moon to plant. So, our next goal in the route is to eliminate another endpoint. We have 3 left. We have the treasure trap, we have the rocket, and we have the resort outfit. So we're going to head over. I'll just grab the gusher. It probably makes the most sense. I'll grab the fish here now, actually. That makes even more sense. This part's a little bit boring. We're going to have to go over and grab the seed. Hopefully this is comprehensible, by the way. It's a lot to take in. I'm trying to explain the thought process behind the whole route while it's happening. But it saves a good amount of time. You grab this moon like you would in the normal route, and then this is where we diverge very slightly. All we're doing is we're planting the seed, then we're going to cover a different endpoint than we would before. So you grab these rocket flowers, take them over. Plant the seed, voila. And then you can decide what to do next. So, again, we don't have the resort outfit, but we can cover one of these 2 endpoints next. Typically what I choose to do is grab this moon if I need it, and then do the rocket. And I'll explain why in more detail this is later. So, we've done the rocket sub area, now we can continue with the rest of the route. Normally we'd warp here, do this whole shebang of moons, and then later on in the kingdom, we get to warp over here, here. We're going to get some purple coins, we're going to get the moon above us, and then we're going to plant the seed. So the route changes when you plant the seed. So we'll just immediately come over and grab it, and we're transporting it over. So at this point, all that we have left to do is we have to use the resort outfit that we would have just bought. Unfortunately, I am not dripped out right now. I'm just using the king outfit, so we won't be able to fully do that. But you'll carry this seed moon over, do all this lovely movement here. That was really scuffed, but I managed to make it work very well, so that's kind of funny. We will be planting our last seed in that back pot, talking to this fella, and then one thing you might have noticed, we haven't gotten this checkpoint yet. After you talk to this fella, the door will unlock. During that door unlock animation, grab the checkpoint, go in the door, there we go. Where are we now? We still have not gotten either the treasure trap or the rocket. We have one more thing to do. Well, the obvious solution, we're still right here. We can just leave through the door. But then what about the seeds? Oh yeah, we can just grow them with daylight savings time abuse. So what we do here is, you don't want to use DSTA here because that's a little bit really challenging. So instead, you will set your DSTA date to use earlier in the run in Metro Kingdom for an early moon. Then your clock will be sometime at like 3/14/2021 or something, and you'll be able to synchronize the clock via the internet to speed up the time and grow your seeds immediately. So unfortunately, I was set to a little bit of an earlier date, so I'll have to do this manually, but synchronize the clock via the internet, speed up the growth of the seeds, exit the sub area, they'll all be fully grown for you. Then you can grab all 4 of the seeds, grab this moon if you hadn't yet, and then finish off your last endpoint. Boom, done, quick. So the main time loss of this route is the fact that you have to go into the menu and manually set up the DSTA. What we found is even with that, it saves a good at least 5 seconds, and it's not that hard to get that time save if you execute everything in this route properly. Doing it properly is very difficult though, and I would not really recommend it for beginners. But that's the gist of the route. And we no longer need to revisit Seaside Kingdom, we just visit Mushroom again, and then when we warp from the Painting Island to the Odyssey, we just globe, moon dump there, no longer need to moon dump here, and we've gone through the painting from Seaside to Mushroom to Seaside. So that's the gist of the route. I covered that in 16 minutes. That's honestly, I'm happy with that. It's a lot to take in. So now let's go into some specifics about what makes this challenging and how you can make it a little bit easier. So very first thing is, one of the most difficult parts of this route comes at the very beginning when you plant that first seed. So I'll go over some tricks you can use to make that a little bit easier right here, right now. So. You do this movement as usual. Okay, so we're en route to start the seed movement. So you grab the seed here. We want to make sure we grab the rocket flower and throw the seed in a good position. So you'll run off the edge, shake throw the seed somewhere over there. That is good enough. So now you grab the rocket flower, and we're going to, okay, this is a terrible place to pause, but we're going to run the seed around this area that I was describing earlier by this, oopsies, by this inlet right here. You'll take like the diagonal around here, and when you reach that inlet, you're going to shake throw the seed into this cubby of water right by this rock. So your target is to shake throw the seed when you reach this island in this rock in the water. You're going to throw it over here, then you're going to shake through it again when you pick it up. That's your first set of targets. Oh, important thing to note here is after you throw it, you can get waved. Seaside Kingdom sucks. This can happen in your normal route. It just is a fact of life you have to live with. Ideally, you maintain your rocket flower speed and just run on top of the water while your speed runs out, even while you don't have a rocket flower. Unfortunately, sometimes you'll have to jump, cap, throw, dive, and lose a little bit of speed by the time you grab the seed. Ideally, you shake throw the seed here, all the way over here around the Odyssey with a lot of speed, but doesn't always happen. I'll explain what to do in both cases. Okay, let's try to unpause and not bonk. Okay, well, that didn't work. We're just going to grab a new rocket flower. Okay, grab a rocket flower, jump twice, shake throw around the island. Okay, so there I didn't have speed. You shake throw the seed over there. For this go through, I'm going to let it despawn because there's a lot to talk about, but your cycle to make sure this seed does not despawn is very tight, and you need to be very comfortable with your movement in order to make sure it doesn't. Because this route will only save time if you get that cliff moon up there while you're transporting the seed and activating the dog, but if you can't do that, I will explain the various backups that can happen to make it happen. So for this go around, we're going to let the seed despawn while I talk through the various things that will have to happen, and then we'll do a full run through where I talk through timings of all these sorts of stuff. So next, activate the dog. So I've activated the dog. Now we need to figure out where to go. I try to take a pretty intense angle away from the dog. That way I don't bonk into the Odyssey right there. Then my target to ground pound is I want to spin pound around these little golden pebbles around here. You can also use the Odyssey sail a little bit, but I prefer using these golden pebbles as some sort of visual cue. So spin pound around there, then you're going to want to cat bounce and wall jump off of this wall. Keep in mind, you need to keep the dog on screen during this. That is why it is challenging, and you need to be confident. So we're going to try to do that. So I've roll canceled. Now I'm spin pound jumping over here. Angle my cappy into the wall. Do this. And then now I do one cap throw to try to get these purple coins. These purple coins stink. A lot of the times you will only home in on 2 of them. My suggestion, just do it one cap throw. It will lose a full second to do a jump cap throw for a second. Just leave it. I will show you a set of backup purples to get if you miss it. I honestly think those backup purples are just faster to get than throwing cappy a second time, and you no longer are at risk of the seed despawning. So, one cap throw into the pond to grab these purples. I don't always do this. Sometimes I greed and do a second one, but just one cap throw, then do the rest of the movement. So, keep right here. Camera is still on the dog. Now we're going to spin pound here. Go up here. Camera still on the dog. Grab the moon at the top. Okay. So unfortunately the seed despawned on us because we had to go a little bit slower to show everything, but that just sort of shows you how tight this cycle is. So the dog's already running over at us, but that's the idea. Once you're done with this part, you want to spin pound down and then throw cappy to hit the seed or grab it as soon as you possibly can. That's the route. That's the hardest part. Once you've done that, you're basically done it successfully. So I'm going to now do it at full speed, and hopefully all those things that I just mentioned sink in a little bit. I'll try to commentate over it as well, but that is going to be challenging. So grab these purples. Yeah, I thought that would happen. I didn't get hit there? I'm tasked. Okay. Grab the moon. Throw the seed over there. Grab the rocket flower. Grab the seed. Shake throw it here. Lose your speed because waves suck. Jump throw it, shake throw it over here. Q roll boost, spin throw, roll cancel the dog. Spin throw around the wall of the Odyssey. Come up here. Okay, that actually really sucks. Come up here, collect as many purples as you can, and you can see things just went awry. I need to bail and hit the seed as quickly as I can, and it despawned on me. There, if I were actually still locked in, obviously I would have grabbed it and picked it up. What you do in that scenario is you grab the seed, you move it over, come back over this direction, throw it around here, make your way back up to the top. Unfortunately, it despawned on me, so I'll have to do it again, but that's what you would do if you mess up in that case. Alright, let's run it back. I won't do the starting part, I'll just try to get right through it. That really sucks. I've been practicing this a lot, and I haven't really messed it up, but leave it till when you make a tutorial for some things to go wrong. Okay, here we go. Where is it? Sometimes you need to, like, pay attention to where the seed is. So there I kept speed. Notice how much farther I can throw it there. Spin throw, roll cancel the dog. Roll around the Odyssey. Spin pound around these little things over here. One cap throw to get as many of those purples as you can get. Wall jump up the wall. There we go. Boom. So now, there's not really a good way to pause here, but, you know, actually I'll just, okay, we're just gonna, okay, there was no good way to do that. You spin pound or jump dive down, grab the seed, and then now we're gonna go over and ground pound the dog spot, pick back up the seed, and then continue on our barrel. So, here's a good time to talk about moving the seed with the dog. So we want to move the seed with the dog all the way over here. You have to get a sense for the line you want to take, and there's some bumps in the ground, so you need to be a little bit careful. But the nice thing about this route compared to the mushroom route, if you've watched my video on that, I'll put a tag in the top right if you're interested. The nice thing about that versus this route is you don't need to move fast with a dog. The dog is just following you. He needs to be on screen. There's not really any sense of urgency. You're just moving the dog with the seed and you happen to have it in your hand. So just make sure you're going as fast as you can, and faster than the dog. We're going to jump dive with the seed, but we're going to keep our camera straight forward. And we're going to shake throw the seed. Then we're going to up throw so we don't accidentally hit the seed with Cappy. And we're just going to rinse and repeat this. Do this 3 times, then just do a jump dive with the seed, and then now the dog's in a good spot. Now, one more iteration of this. And we're over here. We're in a good position to plant the seed. And I keep missing this shot. This is really silly, because this is just the same in both routes. I'm just a chungus, but it's okay. Now, we look at the hint arts. The dog is digging up the spot. All is right with the world, and we can continue. I'd like to redo this one more time because I want to show off a couple of backups. So, as I mentioned, just take one swing at the purple coins. Oftentimes you will not collect all three, and that is a-okay. This is what it is. Gotta let it be. And if you have to bail, the next thing I want to show you is what to do if you bail. So we'll start off, we'll warp over here. Starting off the movement as usual, grab this thing. Oh my gosh, I'm a chud. Well, we'll just get a new one. Chunks. Okay. Dude, this is ridiculous. I never made these mistakes in practice ever. Good time to have them happen. Okay. Throw the seed over there. Then throw the dog. You know the drill by now. Spin pound on these areas. So I've messed up. This is actually a good time to let this happen. So if you mess up, you will realize you messed up at this point. You have to go over and grab the seed. So we've grabbed the seed. Now we're going to take the seed. We're going to throw it like over here in this area and then do this movement with the camera in a good spot. So now we're going to move the camera back and the dog is already moving toward us. And that's because he's done digging. Not the end of the world, just a little bit of time. So the dog is now digging. He is moving his way over to us. And we've transported the seed to a closer place at the bottom of the cliff. So we're going to go down, reclaim the seed, and the dog has another dig spot over here. This is what I wanted to show you. Ideally, you can try to lead the dog away from this spot, and then this backup is very, very good, but it's not ideal. The best thing is just not to mess up. Obviously, I know, duh, challenge, but is what it is. This route's hard. It's not very worth for beginners, but yeah. I think I want to try to do this successfully one more time, just for demonstration purposes, and then we'll move on. But back up, grab the seed, move it a little bit closer to the Odyssey, and then move with the dog away from his dig spot, but overlapping some movement with you and your movement over to the other side. Okay. Oh, goodness. There is so much to cover. It's already been 27 minutes. I honestly don't know if there is a way to explain this in a more quick and easy way. And I feel like most of this has actually been pretty informative. So, all right, eat the seed over here. Then pound the top of those little things. Take one swipe at the purples. I only got 2 of them there, but that's okay. Grab the moon. Sometimes the camera turns around like this. You'll just center it immediately as soon as you roll away. Seed is totally good. Grab the seed, transport it. Normal cap throw, up throw. Over here now. Hope I threw it a little too far. That was supposed to be a normal cap throw. That's a normal throw, not a shake throw. And now we can turn the camera around. Plant the seed. I didn't miss the throw. Hooray! Not quite as much of a chud as I have been the rest of the video. And continue with the route as well. Boom. Okay, next thing to talk about. We want to plant this seed. Okay, so we're about to bounce on this. This guy right here is very, very, very annoying. So, our ideal goal, yes, I can, okay. Our ideal goal is to plant the seed in the pot at the back right around here. This is not always possible because of this guy. If he's in the way, you'll have to cut your losses and plant it in this one. I'll explain what to do in both cases. So if he's in the way, just shake the seed forward. It'll plant in either one of these two pots. And this part of the route isn't really affected by the time save. It's just like, okay, can you get some bonus time save from this route or no? And if you're able to pot it in here, bonus time save is acquired. If not, you're just going to save the normal like 5 to 7 seconds that I referenced earlier. Okay, so goal planted in here. He's in the way. We're going to settle for planting it in here. I'll show you what to do in either situation. Okay. Planted. Now we can go activate the moon rock. Continue with the route as well. So from this point on, we're basically just doing the same thing. Yada yada yada. You know the drill if you run all those. Okay. So first thing I want to do, we're going to assume that we planted the seed in the optimal pot. If the guy was not in the way, we planted the seed in the back right pot, and we get the opportunity to do some extra time save. So I wish there were a faster way for me to get over here, but I don't have the glass palace checkpoint or anything closer. I didn't think about that in my prep. Okay, we'll capture this fella and make our way down to the trench seed. So trench seed, typically you want to get a lot of rocket flowers when you go over and plant it. And the reason for that is you want to bounce on the parasol all the way up to the place where the seeds are, ground pound, get rid of the rocket flowers, and then go over to volleyball. Here, what's nice about this is we have the opportunity to just yeet the seed into the pot that we want and then immediately capture the rocket. That will allow us to have some time save. In order to do this properly, we don't want to have 3 rocket flowers. So you'll do this movement. You'll throw Cappy a little bit earlier. Oh my god, of course I mess it up, man. You'll do something like I just did. This is something that you just like have to practice on your own because everyone has a different way. You grab this checkpoint. I'm such a chud. At this point you have 2 rocket flowers, then you do this. And it's been planted in the other seed, in the other planter. And you are now activating the rocket. Boom. Extra time save. We no longer have to go all the way over to the flower pot area. That's all I want to show. This is a bonus piece of time save you can get from the route. Saves an extra, like, probably 3 to 5 seconds. It's hard, not reliable because of plotting the seed in the back right pot requires the guy to be in a good position. You can camera manip it, but it's really hard when you're already camera manipulating other things. Just thought I'd mention it. Kind of important. I forgot to set a save state. That's okay. It's fine. Next thing I'll show is just what you do in the normal movement. So here you're going to grab the usual 3 rocket flowers and proceed as fairly normal. So here I would still recommend getting the rocket first. It doesn't really matter whether you go to the rocket or the treasure trap first, but the rocket is a little bit better in my opinion because once you're on the little island with the planters, you can grab the moon above the parasol and then use that to cap bounce onto the rocket. And it's just really convenient to do that. You can either do that when you grab the seed moons or otherwise, but I prefer to do it early. It doesn't really matter. So you do the three rocket flower movement. Grab the checkpoint. And now we have a lot of speed, more so than we had last time. Ground pound. Plant it in the back right pot. Grab this moon right here. And do the rocket. Okay, boom. Problem, all is good with the rope. So, now, last things last. We want to plant this moon, this seed. So planting the seed's a little bit weird. You do it the same way as you do the last movement that I showed. The reason I say it's weird is because sometimes when you only have one pot to plant things in, you can't hedge your bets as much, so you have to be a little bit more careful about making sure it goes in the pot. That was finally how the movement's supposed to look. I don't know why it was bouncing all over the place, but, you know, it's been a scuffed Seaside. Seaside's the worst split for everyone. So. Plant the last one. Talk to this fellow. After you talk to him, grab the checkpoint. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. I'll move the clock forward a little bit and show the movement that you do coming out of, oh, it's Christmas. W. Christmas Eve. And show the movement that you do coming out of the door. So, coming out of the door is a little bit awkward, but you'll do a side flip cap throw to land on this little awning right here. So, you want to delay the cap throw so you trigger the top seed, then trigger one of these ones. You can dive directly from this moon to this moon if you don't suck at the video game. Oh my goodness. I'm not demonstrating my point very well. Then you can open the other two seeds, grab them. And the reason I like getting the other moon early, if you got the fast movement, now you can grab the parasol moon. Otherwise, you can just dive right down here and get the treasure trap. So, nice and convenient. A little bit of optimization you can do there. Let me try to do this movement successfully once, because that was a little bit of a train wreck. So you come out of the door. How does this happen? Okay, whatever, it's fine. So you open the top seed, grab this one up high, cat bounce up to it. Ideally you do what I just described, but I don't think I'm going to get a good reference for it. In the top right of this screen at some point in time, there should be a reference video of a successful execution of this route, but in any case, it is what it is. Just do the best you can. This part, grabbing the seeds is less important to the route than the other optimizations with the dog, because doing the dog stuff wrong kills the route, makes it no longer lose time. This you can just squeeze some extra little time saves out in the similar way to where you can squeeze some extra little time saves out with the other route. So I value that stuff less, but it's still important to make sure people are aware of the other stuff. So that's about it for the Seaside route. I think I covered everything that I wanted to, especially the tricks when it comes to manipulating the dog properly. This one was a little bit of a mess. I apologize, but I think that about covers it. The description, as usual, will have a summary of the changes to the route and a link to a successful execution of it if you'd like more reference points. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.